on your iPhone or whatnot. So now the QR code provides a more robust sort of like experience than just taking you to a web page. So you might be going through the yellow pages and you scan a certain plumber or whatever that has his own QR code. He might have a personal video. Hey, here's what I'm doing, blah, 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 or whatever. And then it could have a wrench coming out of the page or whatever for an attention grabber. So we try to kind of put more relevancy into the QR code.
Some feedback on the presentation. I think you had the exact opposite problem that the other presenters did, which is I think you did a great job getting our attention. It was a great demonstration of what augmented reality is and could be, but I didn't get a sense of what the clear focus of the product is and how that stacks up, so I would have more substance in the presentation about that.
Okay, I appreciate that. And if we have a lot of substance and business plans in the background, so we welcome anybody that's interested or curious to more diving deeper into.
All you need is another business plan.
Another business plan. We've got one. Need two, three.
David, you have something?
Yeah, well, the good news, I think QR codes are super interesting. I think it's a very interesting area. I was reading the other day that I guess New York City is now putting QR codes on building permits. You can just like scan in like buildings basically and learn more about them and file complaints, all that sort of stuff. So the good news is you're in a really interesting space. I think somebody's going to figure out some really cool applications with this. I'm not quite sure that your application is there yet, but
well, again,
keep experimenting with
the
it.
ones you saw today are verticals that customers have already gone off and started to pay us money to go off and develop for them. So you see home decor, you saw a little bit of real estate. You know, I talked a little bit about some other use cases. We're picking those use cases as they come, as customers become interested in it. But more than that, again, sticking to the theme of YouTube, of augmented reality, you know, years ago, nobody had videos on their websites, right? And then YouTube came along. Now anybody can put a video on their website. Same with this sort of an application service. Years now, nobody has augmented reality. Nobody's using these markers and glyphs to do that. Hopefully through our website, people will log in and say, hey, I want a thing to jump out of my screen on my Facebook page or whatever. And so for the personal consumer case, that's sort of the model, if you will. Hopefully, you know, you make it and they will come type of a thing.
Personally, I don't think that YouTube is the right example here. I would probably dive into social games or gameplay. Like the thing that like strikes me as being a use case that would make sense is, you know, gameplay around the 3D experience using accelerometer on the phone would probably give you some interesting like opportunities. And so if you engaged people like point of sale with sort of games and then score-based gave them financial incentives or discounts, like I'd sort of buy into that being a use case.
Right,
so,
absolutely.
Like, I'm just guessing, but maybe more creative use cases that involve spatial. Like you have an accelerometer on the phone, you're presenting a 3D image, there's probably some interplay there that makes sense.
Right. Or we can create almost a community, we thought, around it where people could compete with, you know, make their own games using our tools or make their own experiences and put a community together around the whole augmented reality developing concepts. So.
I will make one comment. My fellow judges tend to talk about the presentation instead of talking about the product. So I will make also a comment regarding the presentation. These two guys remind me a lot of Penn and Teller. One guy is doing all the work and the other one just stand and smile.
Awesome. Awesome observation. Thank you, Yossi. Let's hear it for Zachary. Very nice. Next up is Hipmunk. As part of our 2.0 competition, some people may know Hipmunk. They're going to launch
Now when the guys are coming.
Yeah. Hey!
Hi there, I'm Danilo Campos, founder of mobile over at Hipmunk. I'm here to show you Hipmunk for iPhone. Why don't we get started? So I'm feeling like an adventure today. We're gonna leave from right here in San Francisco. And I've been craving ramen, something terrible, so we gotta go to Tokyo. Thinking we're gonna leave mid-month, that gives us time to get packed, so those dates look good to me. And let's have a look at what those results are gonna look like. Have a look at that. At Hipmunk, it's very important to us that you be immediately able to tell what the best flight is for your needs. So you can see right at the top of the list there is a very short bar. We show you this graph so that you can tell immediately, hey, this flight's taken off here, it's landing here, and I can see how it stacks up against my other options. We also don't sort by price, because price is not the important metric. a little thing that we call agony is. With agony, we take how long the flight is in the air, how many layovers it has, and how hard it's going to hit your wallet. And we combine those three things. And that lets us do some fun stuff, like say, hey, for just $2 more, you don't have to have a layover. That's a good deal. You don't have to be in the air for a couple of more hours. Who's not going to take that deal? So why would we show you that flight, second, third, fourth? It doesn't make any sense. So we want to make it so that with very little effort, you can pick the flight that's going to be the least miserable. That's important to us. It's also important to us when we get into something like mobile that it feel right at home. So here in Hipmunk for iPhone, we can do stuff like pinch and stretch to zoom in if you want some more detail. You can pan up and down, left and right, just like you would feel at home anywhere else. If you want to pop over to landscape mode, get a little bit more elbow room, of course you can do that. So let's have a look at that flight in more detail. We'll go back to portrait. We'll pop it open. All right, so 11 hours, 4 minutes. That's pretty good. And I can see there that I'm actually going to land a few minutes earlier than some of these other options, but I actually get to sleep in with this flight. That's good. I'm not a morning guy. Perfect. So why don't we pick that first option? On our leg back, same deal. We've got a bunch of stuff with layovers, but here's one at the top for a few bucks more where I don't have to have that. So we'll pick that. So now it's booking time. If we need to, if we absolutely must, we can book on our phone. So we'll click that, and off we go to Safari, we load up orbits, and there it is. But that's going to be a lot of work for our thumbs. So why don't we go back to Hipmunk, look at our other options. We can email the booking link. If we've got a friend who's going to come with us, we can trust them to say, hey, take care of this for me, let's go on a trip together. We can email it off to them. But let's say you've been searching for the last 5 minutes, and now it's time to get back off the toilet bowl and rejoin the rest of humanity. When you go over to your computer, all you got to do is load finish.hipmunk.com. We're going to give you a little phrase right there that you can type in, and it's going to take us right over to the partner site where we can get our booking done. So that's Hipmunk for iPhone, the best way to find the very best flights, and now it'll come with you anywhere you go. Thanks for listening today.
That was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not sure I buy that every consumer isn't interested in price, but that was a good pitch.
Thank you.
The thing I love about Hipmunk, I saw it a couple weeks ago, just kind of browsing around the web, is that when people are booking flights, it's a very stressful experience.
Yes.
You've got people on the other end that have expectations of when you're going to get in. You've got family with you. You've got colleagues with you. It's a stressful situation. And every single travel site out there gets data display wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Because it does not map to our mental model of how we see time. I have to look at a grid. I see a bunch of times. I convert that over in my head subconsciously to how that fits into the day, what's going to happen on both ends. To see it in a timeline like that, it's a small shift, but it's a brilliant shift. It really helps people understand what they're getting into, and it's smart to sort by other things than just price. I would use this in my personal life.
I really appreciate that, and that really goes to the core of what we're trying to do here. I feel like any situation where somebody is going to make you do mental math like this to do such an important task, it's just a real dick move, you know? It's so much easier to see it this way, and we want to be good to our users. That's at the core of everything we do, is to be good to our users.
I thought it was a great presentation, a great product. It was really easy to follow. In 15 years of investing, I have to say what you're doing and what Wanderfly is doing is probably the most innovative thing I've seen in travel.
That's very nice. Thank you.
I want to challenge that a little bit, though. I mean, like, so I get the fact that it's a different sort method, but is that defensible? Like, I mean, so if you prove that that is an interesting sort method, doesn't everybody else like copy you and just, then it's not as interesting and differentiated?
That doesn't concern me. I think that it's very easy to copy the result of a feature. But I don't think it's easy to copy the intent of a feature. And in this case, our intent is kindness. We want to be good to you. And so you can copy little bits here and there, but our product is always evolving. And we're continually making it better because we want you to have a good time doing this thing that otherwise really would not be fun.
We'll just play devil's advocate on that. I mean, is there anything that goes into the agony index besides the, like, no layovers? Because that's just a checkbox on most travel sites, right? Is there anything else that goes into the algorithm of how you sort it?
You know, there are a lot of signals that we can use for agony. There are a lot that we're talking about right now, and there's a lot of data sources that we can pull from to further enhance the value of that metric. That's something that's evolving all the time. So
right now it's just basically no layovers, is that right?
No layovers, along with cost, along with how much time you're actually spending in the air.
Okay.
One thing that would make me incredibly happy on a mobile flight booking app is to pay you $20 to book the flight for me. Honestly, I mean, whether it's Kayak or you name it, you know, you solve one part of it, which is the find problem, and I've used Hipmunk on the web for a while. It's a fantastic application.
Thank you.
I would really like to pay someone to restart the travel agency business around booking a flight that I have already figured out for me off of my phone. One click to buy. Like, why don't people do that? It's just a question. You could probably crowdsource that. Crazy. Right? And if you can't book within 5 minutes, just send me a text that says, sorry, I couldn't book it, we didn't charge you. Why doesn't anybody do that?
I think people are used to doing things themselves. We've gotten this model where, you know,
But it's such an incredible pain on a mobile phone experience to actually go through the booking process.
I agree.
It just seems like, I forget who just asked the question, that seems like an interesting opportunity to lock the customer in rather than just push me off to orbits or, you know, like everybody else does. Just a thought.
No, absolutely. I think what we've done is taken a first stab here at relieving the agony in the mobile side of this equation as well. But, you know, we are tireless. There continue to be opportunities, just as you've described, to make this even easier. And we're talking about that all the time. This is our obsession.
Are you going to have a website?
We do have a website. I apologize for not making that clear. If you go to hipmunk.com, we have a full flight search experience for the web. And so go nuts, and anytime you need to do some flight booking away from your computer, we've got you covered on the iPhone as well.
Awesome. And Uber.com for taxis sort of does that whole payment process. It takes the whole act of payment out of cab rides. Shervin, question?
Yep. So Hipmunk's one of the ones that got away. I saw you guys at Y Combinator, and I'm a huge fan. I think diving into what I would call an agony algorithm or agony rank is an interesting concept. So I think if you can solve this in the travel area, anything kind of associated to travel around hotels and how close to hotels this should be to the airport and those bookings and everything else seems to be an interesting growth pattern and vector for you to go down. Are you considering that? Is that something that you guys would look at? And as they asked, what other areas can you look at innovating around the idea of algorithms for agony and how to solve that?
You know, I don't have anything else to announce today, but I can tell you that we are fervent in our desire to make this experience better all around the world of travel. And so if it's obvious to you where we might go next, I guarantee you it's obvious to us too. We really are hungry to make it better.
One more observation or a question? Should be on.
A small comment.
Sure.
I flew here from Sydney a couple of days ago.
Welcome.
Thank you. Qantas has changed their flights, so they all deposit you in LA, and then you have to get on American for the last leg. And that was the agony leg of my flight. And the thing is, of course, I didn't know this from looking at any of the booking systems, so I'm wondering if there's some way that I can then feed back in so that you can crowdsource an agony ranking based on people who have taken a particular flight or set of flights.
Based on customer service experience, that kind of stuff, having that sort of aggregated into our results would be interesting to you.
Can we give you specific flight attendants or counter people that we particularly have bad experiences with and have you?
Jason would like a blacklist. Let's see what we can work out for him.
Of certain,
You can offer the airlines to provide the users agony points. And And you will get free flights according to the amount of agony you collected rather than mileage. I think it will make much more sense.
Now that sounds exciting.
I think the other thing on the agony side would be the seat you're sitting in, right? So comparing two flights, I might be willing to take a longer flight if I can get an aisle seat versus a middle seat. So bringing in personal preferences, because what agonizes me versus you could be different.
Yeah, because those bulkhead seats, for example, if you can get one of those, you stretch your legs out, you're paying almost the same amount. That's a good deal.
Yeah, I was going to say, because actually the example you chose is one that I do pretty regularly. My wife's Japanese, we go to Tokyo. And
Yeah.
so short flight is one sort order, but we go with kids. So figuring out that seats are together is another agony issue. And then seat, width and length, if I'm traveling by myself, is also a priority for agony. So agony definition by consumer is probably an interesting technology.
Let's hear it for the anti-agony Hipmunk. And tomorrow, we actually have the Hipmunk of hotels coming, a very similar sort of look at hotels. Judges, we saw 5 companies. I'm going to ask you which one you liked best, which one you'd be most likely to fund, work with, etc. We had Appconomy, Disconnect, Jibe, Zachary, and Hipmunk. Think for a second. Which one did you absolutely love most? Yossi Vardi, which one would you be most likely to angel invest in and fight for? Appconomy is a group product, Disconnect for privacy, Jibe for social jobs, Zachary making augmented reality our reality, and Hipmunk taking the agony out of everything, specifically flights. What do you think, Josie? Which would you go for? Which did you like best?
First of all, I want to say that whatever I like best doesn't make any sense or any difference, because it's all probability, and from seeing the presentation, there is no way to have any intelligent forecast what will happen. So I guess that we will base our selection either on the sympathy of the presenters or the sympathy of the space. Coming from where I'm coming, the thing which appealed to me the most is the group communications. I like the space. It's important, but it has all the issues which were mentioned. But I would like to suggest to all the other presenters that they shouldn't be discouraged if they're not coming first or second at this irrelevant judging.
Okay. Mr. Sachs.
I'd say the product that I would probably use myself would be Hipmunk, because I really liked the UI of how it displayed flight info. The product that I think would probably find the clearest place in the marketplace would be Disconnect, because I think it's got a really clear value proposition to people who are interested in that. But I think the one that, if I was going to kind of take a flyer and invest, it would probably be Zachary, because I actually think this QR code stuff is really interesting, and I don't think they've nailed it yet, but they're in a very interesting area, and it seems pretty different than what other people are doing. So,
George, what did you think?
My vote's for Hipmunk.
Okay. Aaron.
I definitely vote for Hipmunk. I think the travel industry needs to be turned on its head. Everybody's doing it wrong, and they're the first ones to start to do it right.
Awesome. Kevin?
Yeah, I would say Hipmunk as well, and I would echo what Dave said about Zachary. I think there's a great potential in what he was describing to dazzle, and I think that's a very, very big part of the consumer world.
Dave? We know that you're the Simon Cowell of this group. Which one did you hate the least?
What'd you say?
Which one did you hate the least?
I think Hipmunk, based on the presentation, although I still feel like the feature differentiation is not so amazing. Right. I know a little bit about the team, so I'd probably bet based on that. I kind of agree with David Sachs. The Disconnect stuff and the QR code virtual reality are interesting, but I wasn't convinced based on the vision that, they're huge, money down a rat hole on AR. Somebody's going to win, but that's really low probability.
Very difficult spaces. Neil, what did you like?
I love Hipmunk, just the web-based version is amazing. I like Disconnect. I just think it's really hard to monetize unless you take it out of the browser, and that's a risky leap of faith.
Let me ask you guys this.
I have a question to the judges. How do you compare Hipmunk to Mahalo? Which is more appealing?
Oh, let's not get into that. Let's not make me part of the story. Let me ask you this. Disconnect and Zachary, we talked about, hey, maybe there's a very future-looking space. How many people think they're too far ahead, or are they in the zone of somebody's got to figure out privacy and somebody's got to figure out augmented reality? I mean, how do you look at that? Is this like a 5-year problem or a 2-year problem or a 3-year problem? How do you know as an entrepreneur, for some of the entrepreneurs on the panel, yeah, you're too soon or too early? And how does it feel with those two specific areas, privacy and augmented?
I'm going to sound a little bit like taking what I said and turning around, but I think the question in privacy is to figure out who has to care about it. Previously, it wasn't Microsoft, it was Symantec and McAfee, and those were the buyers. It's unclear now who the buyers are. Google became the buyer for a while in the middle there, and I'm not sure if it's Facebook or, again, McAfee's going into the chip. I don't know if Symantec's going up or down. It's complicated to know who actually is the one that is the protector of the consumer, and that's the risk in that space. I think, and the QR codes, it's complicated.
I think the privacy stuff is here now as an opportunity to go after. I would say it's, for me, more obvious in the family and kids market than any place else. There's probably an opportunity in the enterprise market as well.
And this is one of your things, Dave. You like to really narrow the focus of products so they own something. So your advice to disconnect would be go after kids?
I mean,
or go after protecting kids.
Go after the kids.
But do you think kids have that much? Do you think kids have that much stuff on Facebook that's going to scare you if you like share your pictures of opening Christmas presents? Like, I just don't think kids.
Are you married?
Well, no, I'm.
You're not married. Yeah.
Right.
It's huge, absolutely fucking huge market opportunity. Talk to any mother of a child between the ages of 0 and 10, and that's pretty much all they ever think about, and you can sell anything to them. It's a huge ass market, and we're not really producing very good products for that right now. Pimp My Own stuff, Life 360, we're going after there. EcoMom, we're going after stuff there. Like, I'm surprised there aren't more entrepreneurs going after this segment because the amount of dollars and the size of audience is huge. And I think it's just because the entrepreneurial audience is mostly single and male, and that's why.
Yossi?
Yeah, in 1993, I was presented a product which was the first one to enable to annotate Word documents with voice, which look not very interesting product, but the company which developed this failing product was Vocaltech, which invented voice over IP. So sometimes you mix the technology and the application. And when we talk about augmented reality, I don't think that the issue what these guys are showing right now is the significant thing. The technology will be very important. If they will be lucky, they will sooner or later zigzag into the right application. For that, they need money, they need time, and they need to be flexible. So when we judge their offering, I suggest we differentiate between the application that you may like or you may not like and the technology. The technology is going to be very significant, and these guys are in the early stage. And some people were earlier than them, but they have a shot. It's a long shot, but they have a shot.
Yeah, I think the AR stuff is kind of a red herring. I mean, I think that is too early, but what's not too early is doing cool things with QR codes, and that's the part that got me kind of interested, and they're not there yet, so I think the key is if they are flexible and willing to kind of thrash around, and I'll be able to find something really cool.
So the augmented reality is the sizzle, but the steak is the QR
Yeah,
codes.
I think so.
I would agree with that. Lots of opportunities with QR codes and all these scanning devices.
But you've got to have an audience that has QR code readers, and what you were saying, if you've an audience like, yeah, exactly, you have it, but the people, you probably don't use the yellow pages and probably will not for the rest of your life. That's not an audience to target. Right. Kids are going to have a QR code reader. They're going to be early adopters.
Come on, dude,
and that's,
hundreds of millions of these devices.
Yeah. There are hundreds of millions of those devices, but not hundreds of millions of installs.
What is yellow pages?
Readers.
Yeah,
that's the thing, is that people have to have that in order for that to take off. And if you look at something like Sticky Bits,
that'll be there.
Really cool idea, but hasn't quite caught on. partly because of that. And Microsoft tried to do the same thing with their own QR codes.
I'd give you $100 if in 2 years 30% of the market doesn't have a QR code built into whoever's like shipping the devices. Probably more like 50%. Like that's a no-brainer.
George, how do you balance it as an early stage and later stage investor? We have Yossi who's saying, just give them money, give them time, let them work it out. You got Dave who's demanding focus and some application or vertical and a marketing strategy and a distribution strategy, very demanding. You guys have a ton of money, invest small and big amounts. How do you reconcile those two different philosophies? Where do you stand?
In regards to the specific company?
Just on a philosophical basis when looking at technologies, do you demand the focus that Dave McClure is looking for in a vertical, or
I'm a small fund, so I have to be more tactical. I think George and other people who run large funds can invest in IP and give them longer runway to come up with bigger ideas.
Yeah.
But I tend to like things more along Dave's route, which is I like stuff that's more focused and easier, where you can create a beachhead pretty quickly. I was in the founding team of the company that coined the term virtual reality in 1989, and I can tell you that we were way too early for the market. And I remember a lot of our demos remind me of the Zachary demos. And I was like, look how cool it is. Will you buy our system for $150,000 because that's how much money we need to get from you to keep our doors open? And it was a hard business to pull off. I didn't like the combination of both. I'd love to see them go down the QR route and be more specific.
I think if you want to understand the power of augmented reality on current platforms, you should look at layer, and then it's becoming very obvious. What you can do on today on phones and tomorrow on iPad and the day after tomorrow on television.
I totally agree with that. I just think they gave a bad demo of the augmented reality stuff.
I agree with that, George. And this is Jose Cavalier from the group Creative here in the panel. It's one thing that we're missing completely that no one's talking about, and I have it in my scoring, that the Creative was pretty bad on both their identity, but also on the demo of the train. I couldn't even see it. I know for a fact, because I've met with them, that Disney's trying to figure out how to deal with their cards and their print and all that stuff in the digital space, and they haven't figured it out yet, even though they're getting their pie taken away. It's a huge marketplace. The issue is that it's not about the technology. If you think about it, then you're in the wrong space about artwork.
Quick comment, Brian Alfie?
Yep. Hey, so on the augmented reality thing, I completely agree about it's not on your phones yet. I don't have one on my phone. There's a guy I met with, I think it was the CEO of ScanBuy, and they said down in like Mexico, there are these Java-based handsets and everybody has them, and the bus stops all have QR codes to tell you when the next bus is coming. So it's actually going to be built into phones, like Dave was saying, it's going to be everywhere. But I think what they're missing on this specific app is nobody's going to download this app to go do this thing. They're going to already have a Disney app, or it's going to be built into their damn phone, or they're not going to use it to do anything. So this to me is a plugin that goes to somebody else's app, kind of like barcode scanners. That's not an app. That's a feature of someone else's app. QR scanners will be the same thing.
Or it has to be something more viral, right? Like a game, right? If it was a game, then I think like you might get viral distribution of that app because like, oh, cool, I can go to the local corner 7-Eleven store, scan this QR code, and play a 3D game where I get 10% off if I get a high score, right? Or if I beat the guy next to me. Like, that's actually kind of an interesting use case.
Let me ask a final question to the panel. I heard over and over again, Hipmunk, amazing UI, beautiful design, and then
good UI, not necessarily amazing UI.
Okay, I heard.
Just the rest of the field is shit, so that's why it's good.
Okay, so given that you didn't like, well, Disconnect was also very well designed, but Zachary, you guys were sort of, and the group app, you guys were kind of dogging a little bit. How much and why does it seem that people who are investors care so much about the design, the logo design? Isn't that superficial to care about that? Shouldn't you care about the other way?
Not at all.
It is, but this is the only thing we can't really understand.
It's not superficial, but it's not superficial. Like seriously, like design, I don't want to say it's everything, but you could arguably make the case that design is more important than the technology in most consumer apps.
Oh, yeah.
Well, also, I think the design is also a kind of a proxy for how focused the product is. And if the design's kind of all over the place, it means they haven't really figured out exactly what their product is. And I think that was kind of the problem with the group's product and maybe the
So in a way, it's a red flag. If you can't get your logo, if you can't get your UX, user experience down, the company might be lost in terms of their business process or just might not be good executors.
People want to know how to interact with the product. Products are people too. The design is what creates that personality that people connect with, And that's a huge part of the way people make decisions is through emotion and not just through logic, whether or not it does a
The
task.
difference between Yodely and Mint was not necessarily the technology. It was much more the design than it was the technology, in my opinion.
But I think it's, people need to be able to go to your website and, immediately kind of grok what it does in, 5 seconds. If they can't figure out what this is about, they're just going to kind of move on.
So this is great feedback for the future entrepreneurs who will be on stage next year. Great logo, great design, great domain name, great user interface. We're going to take a 15-minute break. Let's hear it for our judges and for the companies. And we'll be back with a really great afternoon session. The first company launching DAR.fm is Michael Robertson, who did mp3.com and took it public. So that's going to be a really amazing demo.